Okay, this is I'm gonna call these lesson 10. We're going again through Robinson, and we're continuing with his chapter 6, pronominal suffixes. Again, we've already gone through these, and if you memorized them before, you'll thank yourself now. If you didn't, now's your chance. When the possessive case of a pronoun is used in English, for example, my book, it is represented in Syriac by a shortened form of the pronoun attached as a suffix to the noun it qualifies. There are two sets of the suffixes called singular and plural for short. I've talked about how that's maybe not the best way to think about them. These names referring to the noun taking the suffix, not the pronominal suffix itself. So he's making the same point that I did. This is kind of a common weirdness in grammars. They'll come up with a confusing name. So they'll name, I mean, this guy is naming them. I mean, other people do too. He's naming them singular and plural. And then he's saying, by the way, they're not singular or plural. Well, then don't name it that way, but whatever. They do go with singular and plural nouns, but they also do other things. That's why I'm not very fond of that name. Anyway, the singular, quote unquote, suffixes are as follows. They are attached to all singular nouns and also to feminine plural nouns. Yeah, that's another reason not to call them singular, but whatever. First person, e. Second person masculine, ach. So he'll give examples later. But my house, beiti, your house, beitach, your house when you're talking to a woman, beitech, his house, beiteh, her house, beitah, our house, beitan, your house, masculine plural, beitchon, feminine, beitchen, their house, beithon, their house, feminine, beithen. I, ach, ech, ah, an, chon, chen, hon, hen. So hopefully you already know these. Here are the second set of endings, which he's calling plural, attached to masculine plural nouns, are as follows. A, ache, au, ein, akon, aken, ahon, ahen. So, well, let's use these examples. Notice the diacritical point, which must be written over the he of the third feminine singular in both sets of suffixes. He's talking about this. This dot above the he and this dot above the he in a to signal that it's feminine. So he's right. You do want to always write this when you're writing. The suffixes are attached to nouns after dropping the a from the end of the emphatic state. The following shows suffixes attached to the singular and plural of the masculine noun, kthawa, plural kthawe. So let's take a look. Here's this example. Kthau. So the way it's technically pronounced is kthau. The yod is silent. I encourage you just at least to remember it. Say kthawi. It actually makes sense to say kthawi unless you're reading poetry or something like that. In any case, kthau, your book, kthawach, your book feminine, kthawech, his book, kthaweh, her book, kthawah, our book, kthawon, your plural book, kthawchon, kthawchen, their book, kthawhon, kthawhen. Kthau, kthawach, kthawech, kthaweh, kthawah, kthawon, kthawchon, kthawchen, kthawhon, kthawhen. Turn this down. Okay. My books. So now when you have a plural masculine noun, you say kthawei, my books. So kthau or kthawi is my book. Kthawei is my books.Kthaweik, your books.Kthaweik with a silent yod there, your feminine books. Kthawau, this is how this is pronounced. All this is silence. The he and the yod are silent. Kthawau, his books. Kthaweh, her books.Kthawein, our books. Kthawekon, your books. Kthaweken. Kthawehon, Kthawehen, their books. Okay, let's note a couple of things. Basically, these endings are mostly identical to these endings, except they have a yod before the ending. So kthawach, Kthawake. So this is softened and this is not softened, but that's less important. Kthaweh, her books, sounds exactly the same as Kthaweh. So that's just something annoying to accept and move on with your life. The rest of them are pretty much following that pattern. Notice the pronunciation of some of these forms. Kthaweh, Kthawa, final he silent. Is it? I don't think it's okay to say Kthawa. Kthawa, Kthaweh, Kthawa. I guess there's nothing wrong with saying Kthawe and Kthawa. Kthaw, he's noting how weird it is to not pronounce the yod. Kthawech, sorry, Kthawake. Kthawake. Oh, the final yod is silent. Yeah, that's right. Kthawaw, he, and final yod both silent. Okay, I already talked about that. Feminine nouns also drop the a before adding suffixes. Thus, from knushta, synagogue, plural knushatha, we have. Okay, how do you do this with feminine? Again, you can say knusht if you want to be real technical and fancy, but it's knushti, my synagogue. Knushtach, knushtech, knushteh, knushta. Same endings as the masculine. Kthawach, kthawech, and so on. Knushten, knushtchon, knushtchen, knushthon, knushten. The feminine, here's again why maybe you don't want to name it singular and plural. The feminine plural, knushatha. If you want to say my synagogues, you don't use these quote unquote plural endings. You actually use the same endings. You just say the full word. Knushatha, knushathi, knushathach, knushathech, knushatheh, knushatha. So let me explain what just happened. So my synagogue is knushti. My synagogues is knushathi. Your synagogue, singular, is knushtach. Your synagogues is knushatach. So there's that extra vowel, which makes this as feminine plural. So let me just read through them. Knushathi, knushathach, knushathech, knushatheh, knushathah, knushathan, knushathchon, knushatchen, knushathon, knushathen. The same remarks about pronunciation apply about the silent yod. Do with that what you may. The genitive relation, so possession, when something possesses another, he's calling it the genitive relation because he's a nerd, may be expressed in Syriac in three ways. One, using the construct state, which we learned last chapter, I think. Two, using the emphatic state together with the relative deleth. And using both the possessive pronominal suffix deleth, the possessive pronominal suffix, and deleth. So there's three ways to say the teacher's book. You can use the construct state, kthaw melpana, where you get rid of the a at the end of kthawa and you get rid of the deleth, kthaw melpana. This is actually the only way to make a possessive in Hebrew, is just this state. Deleth doesn't have the same meaning there. So you can say kthaw melpana, or you can say kthawa melpana, or you can say kthawe melpana. So you're still using the deleth, but you're also using these endings that we're learning right now. The last of these constructions is very common and appears even in phrases like hobhen tawatha. I don't know how it is. Hobhen tawatha, the love of good things. So what this literally means, his book of the teacher. So when you're translating, you don't have to translate it, his book of the teacher. You can just say the book of the teacher. This is just really stressing that the book belongs to the teacher. Hobhen tawatha, their love of good things. It's not somebody else's love. No, it's the love of these good things. So it's really stressing, not some other love of some other thing. It's hobhen tawatha. Okay, so this is a little bit more emphatic, but it is quite common as he says. Vocabulary: yulpana, doctrine or teaching; deiraya, monk; habiu or habiwa, beloved; ar'a, land; The plural is ar'atha, so lands, if you have like many lands that you own or something like that. Libba, heart. Dubare is a way of life or maybe manners, as if you want to keep the plural meaning here. Manners or way of life or habits, something like that. Dubare. Britha is creation, feminine, obviously. Yonai or Yonaya is Greek, so it's an adjective. He's giving it an absolute state here. So Yonai, Yonaya, Greek. Christian, Christian. I mean, actually, it's more common to see Mshihaya, but this is a Greek transliteration of the word Christian, so whatever. Shmeya, heaven. Knushta, synagogue, we saw that. Hubba is love. So look, Hubba is love. Habiwa is beloved. You can see the relationship between those two words. Huma is mouth. Deira, monastery. Plural, Deiratha. I think I've seen Deira too, but anyway. So look at Deira, monastery. Deiraya, monk. See that? And monastery, the word Deira is feminine. So maybe there isn't Deira. Maybe that's just in Chaldean. Segi'in is many. So you'll see Segi'a, Segi'e in the emphatic state. And then you'll see Segi'in, many in the absolute state. So you'll see all of those as possibilities. Here's the emphatic. Sorry, I just said it. Segi'e. Segi'e means many. If you're using this as a adjective to describe there are the many houses, Beite Segi'e. If you want to say many are the houses, Beite Innon, Bate Innon Segi'in. They are many. You'd use this form. If you don't remember that, go back to an earlier chapter and learn about the adjective. Okay, and then Eeta is church. And then the plural is Eedatha. Eeta, the daleth is not pronounced. You see the batlana there. Eeta, Eedatha. Churches. Let me read these exercises for you, translate into English. Kthawan. Reshekon. Bratach. Is that what they're saying? Sorry, Brithach, my bad. Brithach. As you can see, I'm not that great at the Western alphabet either. Brithach. Humhon. Telmid. So Telmid. Hook da now. Hook da now. So translate these. Ar ath. Arathech. Arathech. So this is a feminine plural. Arathech. I'll just tell you, this is her lands. Mvite. Mvite. Edathech. Right? Sorry, no. Edchen. Edchen. Knushath chon. Malpan. Malpani. Oh, sorry. Malpanithi. Malpanithi or Malpanith. Malpanith. Hakimta uhabbuta. Oh, there's no endings here. Okay. Hakimta uhabbuta. Segi'in kthawe yonaye dub deirathon. So this is a full sentence. Segi'in kthawe yonaye dub deirathon. Look at you translating your first sentence. Mana innon dubare hon gdeiraye hanon. Mana innon dubare hon gdeiraye hanon. Qaddishin innon kthawe hon denwiye wad thalmidhe hon. Qaddishin innon kthawe hon denwiye wad thalmidhe hon. Nice sentences. Shapiran innin Edathe dam vita waknushatha. Sorry, etatha, my bad. شبيران إنين عيداثة دمذيتا وكنوشاثة. كاواو بلشانا يونايا النون. Let me translate this one for you. Kthawau blishana yonaya النون. His books, blishana yonaya النون. His books are النون. So kthawau النون blishana yonaya in the Greek language. Milthadalaha pumhoni denwiye. Milthad alaha pumhoni denwiye. Alaha alahiat or alahat. Alaha alahat or alahiat. Translated in Syriac using suffix forms where possible. Great practice. Now, for this lesson, I would like to go over the next chapter as well. If you don't feel like it, you can pause here and then do this another time. I don't really care. The prepositions and the words ith and dil. This is actually just follows from the last chapter. In chapter 4, we dealt with the way the prepositions beth, deleth, and lemeth are prefixed to their objects. Other prepositions are separate words, as in English. When a preposition has a pronoun as its object, the appropriate pronominal suffix is attached to the preposition. So you're going to take some words and you're going to attach the endings that we learned last chapter. In the same way as it is to a noun. Some prepositions take the singular suffix, others the plural. The following are some of the most important prepositions. This is another reason why I don't like calling these singular and plural endings. The ones that take the singular pronouns, quote unquote, doesn't mean that there's anything singular about these. And the ones that take the plural doesn't mean there's anything plural about them. They're just taking those endings. That's it. Anyway, you want to say in or with or among, you use the quote unquote singular suffixes. So bi, bach, bech, be, ba, ban, pron, pen, bhon, pen. Note the vowel on B, which makes it pronounceable. Look at that. So this invisible, unpronounced yod that you're never supposed to say, or it's the end of the world, you need to say when there's a beth here, and with a lemeth as well, to make it pronounceable. So maybe you should be pronouncing it a lot more. Whatever. Okay. Lemeth, 2 or 4, same thing. Li, lach, lech, and so on. Is also used before the definite direct object of a verb. So lemeth also is, in addition to the indirect object marker, 2 or 4, also marks the direct object. So the king killed me, Melka qtal li. He killed me. It doesn't always mean he didn't kill to me, he killed me. So lemeth also means that. Min means from. And again, you use the singular quote unquote endings. Minni, minnach, minnech, and so on. So from me, from you, from him, and so on. Also expressed with min are the comparative and the partitive. Look at this is important. Tau min dahwa shapira. Tau min. Tau min. Good from. Well, it really means better than. Better than fine gold. Eina minchon. Which from you, literally, but it really just means which of you. Eina minchon. This is a very important usage of the word min. Both of these. Along with, uses singular. So mi, amach, so with you, amach or amruach, with you and with your spirit. Ami, amach, amech, amech, aman, and so on, with me. Here it is. Okay. Muttol means because of. So muttol, for the sake of, because of, concerning. So for example, you'll see a chapter of a book beginning with the word muttol. So that means this chapter is concerning or is about whatever. Okay. Singular suffix art. So if you want to say because of him or because of me or whatever, the form slightly changes. Muttolath. So you would say muttolathan. So you wouldn't say muttolan. You would add this tau at the end, muttolathan. So muttolathi, muttolathach, muttolathe, and so on. So there's a special form when there's suffixes. Muttolathan umuttul portanan, for us and for our salvation. With deleth, this is very important too. With deleth added, muttul is the conjunction because. Muttul dashlihana. because I am an apostle. So muttal means because of, muttal means because I am an apostle, because of the fact that. Maybe that's what delath is. Muttal. Okay, another important use of muttal. This chapter is basically just a list of vocab words. Just learn these vocab words. Beine, beinath means among or between. Beinath takes the suffixes. So beinathach, beinathan, whatever. So among us. For beine, plural suffixes are attached to the form bein. So beinathon or beinehon, among them. They mean the same thing. Notice also beine ulach, between me and you. Beine ulach, between me and to you, but between me and you. Another form of this preposition is beth, unrelated to house and not used with suffixes. So beth can also mean among. So beth yaunaya, among the Greeks. And it doesn't have suffixes attached to it. I don't know if it's unrelated to house, but you don't have to think about it in relation to house. Luath, at, with, near. I think toward is probably the best translation of luath, but it can mean all these things. Singular suffix. So luathach, toward you. Shlama luathan wa luath alaha. Peace among ourselves. So peace to us. Wa luath alaha, and to God. Ach means like or as. Singular suffixes are attached to the form achwath. So ach, if you just use it by itself, means like or as. If you want to say like him, you say achwath achwath. So you have to add this tau at the end, just like whatever word before, beinath. Or there was another one too. Mutolath. So you have to attach that tau before you attach the endings. Al, upon, over, concerning, unto, plural. So finally, we have something using the other endings. Plural suffixes are attached to the form al with no vowel. So alay, alaik, alaiki, alau, aleh, alain. So these are the second set of endings. Go on al. It doesn't mean that it's not because al to say upon is plural in some way. It's not plural. It just happens to use these endings. So don't worry about the plural part of this. Okay. Taith, under. Plural suffixes are most usually attached to a different form, thoth. So al, ara'a, wa thothe, on the earth and under it. So taith means under. If you want to use endings, you use thoth and then you add the endings. Qadam, plural suffixes. So qadame means before, either in space or in time. So in front of somebody, before them, or before them in time. Plural suffixes, so qadame, qadameik, qadameik, qadamau, qadameh, and so on. Dil, this is interesting. The preposition deleth does not take suffixes. So if you want to say of him, if you want to say this is deleth means of. If you want to say of me, you don't say di. You say dili. So it extends the word a little bit. Singular suffixes are attached to the form dil to make an emphatic possessive. Kthawi dili, or kthau dil, my own book. You're really stressing the fact that it's yours. Or kthawa dili. Dilehi ar'a. The land is his. His is the land. Dilehi ar'a. And ar'a is feminine, that's why it's using he. If may be included in the list here. We talked about that at the Blue Book. Although it is more like a verb than a preposition, without a suffix, it means there is. So if you just say if, there is, or there are. With the preposition, lemad, it takes on the meaning to have. This is a very interesting, important word. Sorry. The negative of eth in both these constructions is late, from la eth. This is just like in Chaldean, actually. There is not. So examples, late, maye, taman. There is not water there. Taman means there. Eth, lan, namosa. We have Allah. Look at this very, very closely. Eth means there is. Lan means for us. So there is for us a law. But in other words, we have Allah. It's there for us. It exists in relation to us. With suffixes, always plural. So ethe, etheik, ethau. So Eth functions as a linking verb. This construction is an alternative to the simple personal pronoun used in chapter 4. So, thus, Melka Ethek, you are the king. This is another way to say is. You take the second set of endings, and you have eth, and you stick them right onto the eth, and you can say, this is a way to say is. Ethehon, they are Christians. You can always use this. Ethe, ethek, ethek, ethau, ethe, ethane, ethekon, etheken, ethehon, ethehen. It's just I am, you are, he is, she is, and so on. Kul, when used with suffixes, means all or the whole. And any following noun must be in the emphatic state. So now we finally, yeah, he mentioned this already. Kul kthau, every book. Kulleh kthawa, the whole book. Kulhon kthawe, all the books. I think this is basically right. A preposition can take a suffix to anticipate its object, after which it is repeated or placed by della. So the expressions al-hade and aleh al-hade and aleh id-hade can all mean concerning this, about this. Yeah, that's fine. Just different ways to say the same thing. Sometimes the relative deleth refers to something other than the subject of the following clause, where English would use have whom, whose, by which. In translating, it can be helpful to think of deleth as meaning as to whom or as to, what is he talking about? Melka dvilehi ara. Oh yeah, so the king that it is his, the earth. So the king whose land it is. Yeah, that's basically right. The king whose land it is. Melka dvilehi ara. The king that it is his, the earth. It's not good English, but it's fine to do this in Syriac. All right, some vocab. Furqana, salvation. Middim means thing, something, or what, or whatever. Kul middim is everything. Tamman is there. Ruha, spirit or wind, it is a feminine noun. Except in the case of the Holy Spirit, at some point they decided the Holy Spirit was masculine rather than feminine. Shlama is peace. Heimanutha is faith. Maye is water. It's a collective plural. So you don't have to translate maye, waters. It's water. Okay. And you'll see it maya and maye. You'll see both of those forms. Taibutha, grace or favor. Dayana, judge. Mutulmana means why. So literally, because of what? Heikla, temple. Mara is Lord. The construct state is mare. So here, this is interesting actually. So Mara Debritha, the Lord of creation. Mara Debritha, the Lord of creation. If you want to make the construct state, you don't say, for whatever reason, you don't say Mar Debritha. You would say Mare. You wouldn't say Mar Britha. You would say Mare Britha. Mare Britha. This is the construct state. It's just an irregular construct. Maria, the Lord with a capital L. It's just really a contraction of Mar Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh, the Lord, and then his personal name, I am. Okay? Okay, let me read these for you. And then there's been quite a lesson today, so it's fine. Translate these. Alain, Muttul Hade, Akhwathech, Qadamao. Kul middim di'ith tḥath shmeya. Nice phrase. Bartha ithle الجورة دئيث bah روحة بشتا. I guess this is a whole sentence, yeah. Bartha ithle الجورة دئيث bah روحة بشتا. Let me translate this for you, just so you can get get an idea. Bartha ithle الجورة. Bartha ithle, a daughter there is for him, for the man. In other words, the man has a daughter. D'ith ba, that there is in her ruha bishta, an evil spirit. So in good English, the man has a daughter who has an evil spirit. She's possessed or something like that. But this is kind of tricky. Bartha ithle, a daughter there is for him, for the man, الجورة, الإثبات that there is in her, روح بشتة, an evil spirit. Okay. مريا آلهن هاو إيثاو مارا الكل. Late عودة ضرب من ماره, this is a quote from the Bible, ولا تلميذ تحكيمين من ملبنهون. That's not, but it kind of goes together. إيث روحه سجياثا. سجياثا, you see it's feminine here because روحه is feminine. إيث روحه سجياثا. ومنو إيثاو ديانا بينثهن. Okay. ديله إنين دمشيحة هالين ملة دئيث لن بإيوانجاليون. بطيبوثا دآلها إيثي مدم دئيثي. I guess that's fine. بريخ آت مطل واذيك ومطل دئيث لاخ هيمانوثا. Okay. إيث كثاوي ذيلي النون وإيث ذيلخ. إيث كثاوي ذيل النون وإيث ذيلخ. Translated in Syriac, use eth and the suffix where possible. There you go. Next, we're getting to the actual verbs. That's very exciting. See you then.